What does it really take to create one of the most unsettling villains in film history? Do you have to lose yourself and suffer for the role? Or is that just a myth we tell because the performance feels too powerful to come from simple preparation and talent? Heath Ledger's Joker in The Dark Knight didn't just redefine the character, it changed how audiences talk about acting itself. While legends grew about the role consuming him, the people who were actually there tell a very different, far more fascinating story. This is who Heath Ledger really was on set. No myth, no horror story, just the truth. The environment he walked into. Before talking about Heath Ledger, it's important to understand the kind of set he was working on. The Dark Knight was not a loose, chaotic production fueled by improvisation and accidents. Christopher Nolan is known for precision, discipline, and control. This was a massive logistical operation involving real locations, practical stunts, IMAX cameras, and carefully planned sequences that left very little room for randomness. This matters because it immediately dismantles one of the biggest misconceptions about Ledger's Joker, that it was born out of chaos. In reality, Ledger brought his creativity into an environment that was structured, focused, and technically demanding. His performance didn't explode out of disorder, it was captured, shaped, and elevated by a director who knew exactly what he was doing. That contrast is part of why the Joker feels so alive on screen. The performance feels unpredictable, but the filmmaking around it is anything but. The first impression that became a legend. One of the most widely cited and credible stories about Ledger on set comes directly from Christopher Nolan himself. While filming in Chicago, Nolan recalled a moment when he saw a production assistant skateboarding down the street. Nolan joked that he cursed the day Heath Ledger showed up on set riding a skateboard, because once Ledger did it, suddenly everyone wanted to. The image is almost absurd when you picture it clearly. Heath Ledger, in full Joker makeup, skating around a major film set like it's completely normal. And for him, it was. This wasn't a man lurking in shadows between takes. This was someone comfortable enough in his skin and his work to move freely, joke casually, and still deliver one of the most disturbing performances ever filmed when the camera rolled. Nolan described Ledger as having a natural charisma and an almost gravitational pull. People noticed him without him demanding attention. Creativity seemed to radiate off him, not just in performance, but in movement, posture, and presence. Calm, playful, and surprisingly normal. One of the biggest myths surrounding Ledger's Joker is that he was constantly in character, terrifying the cast and crew even when cameras weren't rolling. But multiple people who worked closely with him have described almost the opposite experience. Actor Michael Jai White, who appeared in the film as Gambol, has spoken about how relaxed the set actually was. He described Ledger as friendly, playful, and genuinely enjoying himself. According to White, Ledger would joke around, talk casually, and only fully switch into Joker mode when it was time to perform. That ability to turn intensity on and off is crucial. It shows that Ledger wasn't trapped inside the role. He was controlling it. The Joker wasn't consuming him, it was something he could access when needed and put away when the shot ended. That kind of control is not madness, it's mastery. When the Joker fully appeared. While Ledger may have been relaxed between takes, the first time many cast members saw him fully transformed was genuinely unsettling. Michael Caine has famously said that Ledger's Joker terrified him when he first encountered the performance, not because Ledger was behaving erratically, but because the character was so fully realized. The voice, the posture, the stillness, the sudden bursts of movement, it was all there, instantly and completely. Caine later said that Ledger's performance forced everyone else to raise their game. When the Joker was in a scene, nobody could afford to drift or relax. That intensity didn't come from chaos. It came from precision. Ledger knew exactly when to lean forward, when to pause, when to speak softly, and when to explode. That's what made it frightening. The hotel room and the Joker diary. One of the most misunderstood parts of Ledger's process is the now famous hotel room isolation story. Ledger himself explained that he spent about a month alone in a hotel room preparing for the role. He kept a notebook where he wrote ideas, phrases, images, and explored different laughs and vocal patterns. This has often been twisted into a narrative of psychological torment. In reality, this kind of focused isolation is common for actors preparing demanding roles. Ledger wasn't spiraling, he was experimenting. He was building a character from the inside out. The notebook itself later became a symbol in popular culture, but what it really represents is methodical creativity. Ledger wasn't summoning demons, he was solving a problem: how to make the Joker feel iconic, unpredictable, and real in a modern world. Physical commitment. Ledger's dedication wasn't just mental, it was physical. One of the most talked about scenes in The Dark Knight is the interrogation scene between Batman and the Joker. During filming, Ledger reportedly encouraged Christian Bale to actually hit him, believing the scene needed real force to feel authentic. This wasn't reckless behavior, it was a calculated choice rooted in realism. Ledger understood that the Joker doesn't fear pain in the way normal people do, and he wanted that to come through physically. The scene's brutal honesty is a direct result of that commitment. Again, this wasn't self-destruction, it was professional intensity. The hospital explosion. Few behind-the-scenes stories have been exaggerated more than the hospital explosion scene. The popular version claims the explosion malfunctioned, and Ledger improvised the moment when the Joker fumbles with the detonator. The truth is more impressive than the myth. The explosion was meticulously planned and engineered as one of the largest practical effects in the film. The delay in the explosion was designed to build tension and reflect the Joker's twisted sense of humor. Ledger's performance sells that moment so well that it feels accidental. That's not luck. That's timing, awareness, and trust in the scene. The illusion works because Ledger understood exactly how long to pause and how to react without overplaying it. The myth exists because people want to believe magic happens by accident. The reality is that magic usually happens because skilled people know exactly what they're doing. Was Heath Ledger always in character? The short answer is no, not in the way the internet likes to imagine. Ledger prepared deeply. He committed fully when the camera rolled. But he wasn't stalking the set muttering threats or refusing to break character. He joked, he skated, he talked with cast and crew. Then, when it was time to shoot, he flipped a switch. That ability, to move effortlessly between normalcy and something deeply unsettling, is perhaps the most impressive part of his performance. Why the myths won't die? The reason these exaggerated stories persist is simple. The performance feels too powerful to come from something ordinary. People want a dramatic explanation that matches the intensity they felt watching the film. But the truth is more fascinating. Heath Ledger didn't disappear into madness. He applied discipline, creativity, humor, and intelligence to a role that demanded all of it. The Joker feels alive because Ledger was in control, not because he lost himself. Heath Ledger's Joker wasn't born from chaos, but from precision, creativity, and total control. If you enjoy uncovering the real stories behind legendary performances, like and subscribe for more deep dives like this.